Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
The Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. The system intentionally generates an enormously high number of ballot errors. The electronic ballots are then transferred for adjudication. The intentional errors lead to bulk adjudication of ballots with no oversight, no transparency, and no audit trail. This leads to voter or election fraud.
Dominion brochure advertises that the adjudication feature allows for efficient processing of ballots that require resolution of voter intent during the post-voting stage of an election. It also states that ballot changes always preserve the voter's original intent. Anyone reviewing a ballot will be able to see how the voter marked their ballot, how the scanner interpreted the intent, and how the ballot was adjudicated. After concerns about this feature being misused arose, Dominion released a statement on their website saying, Dominion employees do not have access to this adjudication system, nor do they operate it, and that access to any adjudication system resides with the election authority using it. In a video reportedly from 2017, Dominion Director Eric Coomer demonstrates how Dominion's voting machines and software works. One feature, he explains, is the ability to manually enter votes, a feature Dominion calls adjudication.
And what we're saying is we're not sure what the voter intent is, but we're going to allow the adjudicators to make that call based on any kind of state statutes. So right on the screen, I can go ahead and say, you know what? The voter meant to mark these. They wanted those votes to count for those candidates.
Coomer says this feature is meant to be used when a voter doesn't mark the ballot correctly, and the machine cannot read which candidate was selected. If this happens, an operator can adjudicate the ballot, which means they manually select what candidate they think the voter meant to choose. Despite Dominion's reasoning for the feature, some people are raising concerns about how an operator could abuse it.
That report found Dominion systems were, quote, intentionally designed to create errors on ballots. Those ballots would then have to be sent for adjudication, which the report alleges was done without oversight, transparency, or an audit trail, a paper trail.
The system, by the way, that video came out in late 2020. So since 2020, we've been dealing with the same issue. We've known the same thing. People were actually really smart. But there's this underbelly of people that want to bully, intimidate, and say, these are not the droids you're looking for. That's in essence what they're doing. That's what they're doing. I mean, call it whatever you want. But look. Chaos favors the op, does not favor the people. Do you believe that? Has there been a time in history, if we just slow down just enough to see the forest through the trees, if you slow down just enough and you start looking at what we're looking at, just looking downstream, being like, okay, here's everything in front of us right now. Has life in the United States gotten better? Was there problems in the election in 2020? Massive, across every state. Did they say it was human error and, the machine malfunction? But these were only things that they were able to look at. Imagine if you looked at the entire system, how many more challenges you would face. In other words, people were bullied into not questioning the outcome of elections. But if everyone would have questioned them, would we have found the same thing in every system? And the answer is yes, you would have. Because the systems were designed to make you a slave. The systems were designed to be rigged and to take away your voice. They want to be able to tax you into oblivion. They hate you. They meaning this bureaucratic criminal state that we have. Judges, lawyers, politicians, all the way down. Unelected bureaucrats. So let's look at this post. This is Patrick Byrne's post. And he said, the election tablets come through Shanghai. Steph Lambert inherited my DC Dominion suit with a crazy lopsided NDA. She found this in many dozens such emails, surrendered them to law enforcement. For that, she's facing disbarment and other DC district repercussions. So let's look at this deal from Rasmussen report. This is an email dating back to Sheriff Leaf, Dar Leaf. Now in this email, if you look through it, and this is the part that blows my mind. If you look through this, it goes through and outlines a couple very key things. One, this came from the manager of software development, Dominion Voting Systems in Serbia. So just imagine that your election systems in the United States, they're making decisions and having conversations between Dominion voting, not just Dominion voting in the US, Dominion voting systems in Serbia. Serbia, with Chinese employees. And in this it says, meanwhile, the tablet arrives at Shanghai Customs. We're waiting for customs clearance now, expecting next week to get the tablet. And this is an email that was sent out with Dominion Voting Systems. Dominion Voting Systems. So let's just get this straight. And you'd say, well, that's not proof, Joe. Look, when you stack all this stuff on top of each other, you'd have to be the dumbest human being in the planet to think that all the anomalies, all the problems we have, all the people that were elected that have basically gone through this new crazy, the fact that you can match up mail-in ballots state by state with them going from red to blue. You can match it up almost identical. You go to mail-in ballots, all of a sudden, boom, the entire state turns blue. Go check it out. California, Oregon, Washington. Look at what's happening in Virginia. And they used it in 2020. They used this pandemic in 2020 to usher in mail-in ballots across the country without any sort of repercussions, willy-nilly. And we know that the mail-in ballots system is manipulated. We know that. But our leaders continue to do nothing. They do less than nothing. It's all theater, because they weren't elected either. And you'd say, well, Joe, they're Republicans. Okay. Here's Trader Thune speaking this morning. Let's go ahead and play it.
Am I right?
Well, look, I don't disagree that there is a possibility if the Democrats ever get the House, the Senate, and the White House, get unified control of the government, they might try to do that. I don't think we don't know the answer to that. It's a hypothetical. But what I will tell you is there are not the votes to nuke the filibuster in the United States Senate today. And I think, frankly, too, for a lot of reasons, Bill, it has protected Republicans through the years, conservative principles and priorities, by requiring a supermajority to get things done in the United States Senate. That's the way the founders designed it. You can argue that these are different times, and maybe they are, but the founders decided to divide power in the Article 1 branch of the government between the House and the Senate, and they made the Senate this way for a particular reason, and that is to require a supermajority to get things done, which means that the minority has a voice in our government. So, you know, we're debating the philosophy of that right now, but the practical reality is, and this is what I keep coming back to, is there aren't anywhere close to the votes to nuke the legislative filibuster in the United States Senate today. That's the reality that I have to deal with.
Well, for all the debate,
No, you don't have the votes to nuke the filibuster because you're a coward. And the Republicans are cowards and traitors. These are traitors. These are traitors to our country that have access to information of, hey, we're going to fundamentally change this country. And we know that people don't have the heart for it. We know that they don't have the stomach for it. So we're going to try and do it over time to make it as painful as possible. It's like arm wrestling. And they want us to give up. They want us to give up. So you can't pass the SAVE Act because, frankly, you don't give a shit about the American people, and you can't actually nuke the filibuster, although you said the Democrats are going to nuke it when they get into office. You acknowledge it. John Thune is a traitor. Murkowski's a traitor. These are traitors to the people. The people were held hostage. Democrat, Republican, Independent, 85, 90% of the people in this country are held hostage by shit. Total shit. Not by good people. And you can say, Joe, you can't turn against the Republican Party. They're not the Republican Party. They're not the people. The people would never vote for 56 cents on every dollar to go to the government. And oh, by the way, they want more. And they wouldn't vote to go into foreign wars and be used as a proxy to beat down adversaries for other countries. That wouldn't be something they voted for either, on either side of the aisle. And here you go. You got Fat Boy Pritzker telling everyone what's going to happen. He's telling us what's going to, every time you read it, they tell us what's going to happen. And they want us to go to war. They want us to go to war. Play it.
What does a Project 2029 agenda look like for you?
I don't think you can speak of it in shorthand, but I'll just say a couple of things that I think are absolutely necessary. One is we've got to restore the rule of law, and that means holding people accountable who've broken the law. I'm talking about in this administration, when we get a new one, the people in this administration who've broken the law and federal agents who've broken the law need to be held accountable.
And that means criminally prosecuted.
Criminally prosecuted, civilly prosecuted, whatever it is that we can do, right? It may be that you can't criminally prosecute somebody, but that you can go after them civilly.
Our country is fundamentally broken. Broken in such a way you can't even see it. They want to criminally and civilly, they want to bankrupt people. And you know what he's doing? He's signaling to people that are in there that you should be afraid. The American people should be afraid of the system. Whistleblowers for the last 30 years have come forward and talked about the improprieties committed by people in government. Not one of those whistleblowers was treated favorably. Not one. That shows you the entire system is designed to enslave the people of our country. Not one whistleblower over the last 30 years has not been attacked by the apparatus. Not one person that's come forward over election fraud, not one person that is an expert. The darlings of the world are the Alex Holdermans, who, by the way, is a CIA puppet out of Michigan, University of Michigan, a puppet who doesn't even know what system architecture is. He's a piece of shit. And here, by the way, is Letitia James now threatening to prosecute children's hospitals who end transgender mutilation for minors. Play it.
Now, this is an extraordinary move by James. It's just the latest controversial move that she has made as Attorney General. She's essentially telling these hospitals that if you comply with federal guidelines, I'm going to prosecute you. I'm going to seek a recovery of damages from you, possibly shut you down. She's not clear on how far she would go. But the real irony here is that often you hear this mantra from people like James of we have to follow the science. Well, 40 hospitals have suspended these procedures. The AMA has thrown a flag on this and said that the evidence is not clear that this is beneficial for these minors. The Society of Plastic Surgeons opposes these procedures. And so what James is saying, that even if your hospital reaches the same conclusion that this is harmful and that we should not be doing this, you still have to do it because I'm going to charge you as discriminatory.
Think about what was being said there. Letitia James is saying she's going to prosecute children's hospitals for not doing transgender mutilations. And let's talk about Tina again. President Trump put this out yesterday. I'm getting tired of the post after post after post after post. It's like making us paper tigers. Free Tina Peters, a 73-year-old woman with cancer, given a 9-year prison sentence in Colorado prison by Democrat Governor Jared Polis and a corrupt political machine for exposing fraud by the Democrats during the 2020 presidential election. Free Tina. Well, Tina's 70, she's not 73. But everything else sits. We don't know if she has cancer. And my issue with putting a post out like this is that I'm not sure it does more damage than good. I don't know who on Trump's team is doing this, but they should know better. They should know better. They should have the facts straight, because it just opens it up again for, it opens up the facts to interpretation. And once you can find one thing, that's how they got away from the election, is that they had people that were talking about PCAPs and, you know, space rangers and space lasers and all sorts of other bullshit. It's really simple. We don't have foreign adversaries. And this is where John Solomon and I get sideways with each other. I sat at this Miles Guo event, and Free Miles Guo, who's still in jail, good friend of Steve Bannon's. Now I don't know how I feel about any of it. Steve Bannon, the pedophile protector. But he sat there and he's like, yeah, the elections are fine. And they're not. And now he's become the spokesperson. Now he's a spokesperson for President Trump. I just don't get it. And now we see the greatest betrayal of the American people kind of happening right now. It's happening in plain sight. John Solomon's talking about it's China, and it's everyone but the people inside of our own systems. And as Americans, we should absolutely right now be shuddering at the idea that we can't get to the bottom of the election fraud that we can all see. And they're trying to change the narrative because they think you're stupid. You know, Hillary Clinton once said that the American people are the dumbest people on the planet. Like, anyone could see this stuff for what it is, except for the American people can't see it. They're too busy fighting each other. She even said it when she was inside of her deposition. She basically said that people are stupid. Now you got Q, and you got these people believe in Pizzagate. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want. They can traffic whoever they want. They can kill with impunity whenever they want. And all we get to do is crack jokes about it. Truth. Truth. We're surrounded by phonies and weak Republicans. This morning I went to a breakfast. So let me just tell you how it went. I went to a Republican breakfast in Castle Rock, Colorado, not too far from where I live. And they normally you let the governor candidate speak first. And that's typically what happens, but that's not the way it happened here. They let everyone else speak. Then they let a relatively unknown governor candidate in Colorado, John Brooks, speak first. Then they let me speak. But before they let me speak, they let everyone speak for like 15 minutes, 15. Before they all spoke, the guy walks up to me and he says, you have 6 minutes and 2 minutes for questions. And I was like, are you kidding me? I just had the smorgasbord of people glad-handing and giving themselves you-know-what jobs that walk through here. Candidates that are, I don't even know what to say. And then you put me at the very end of the event, and then you tell me I have 6 minutes to speak. I almost walked out, which is what they really wanted to have happen. And here's what I found out, that you have a contingent of the mean girls. You have people that are inside of power, the power structure, and one of them whose husband runs it. I don't know, good, bad. Let's hypothetically say I give him the benefit of the doubt. Why would I? Why would I? Why would you put the guy that frankly is at the front running of the governor's race at the very end of the event and only give him 6 minutes? So I took whatever minutes I wanted. I think I'm taking 12 or 13 minutes. And I asked questions. But here's what I said in the event. I looked around the room and there was one person that was under the age of 30. One. I was probably next in line for the youngest guy, 25-year-old kid, great young man. And I said, thank you for being here. I said, where are the rest of the young people? And people were like kind of looking around at each other as gray hair meets gray hair meets gray hair. And I said, how many of you, by a show of hands, invited someone under the age of 30 to be here today? No hand went up. And I was like, this is why people don't want to be in the Republican Party. You don't want to give young people a seat at the table. You don't want to do anything that empowers anyone but yourself. At the end of life, you want to be important. And you can't get along. You fight with each other. And this is not an anomaly in Colorado. It's an anomaly across the entire nation. The RNC is filled with people who shit on everybody else and do what they did to me. Make me wait till the very end of it because you have somebody that supports this person called Victor Marx or Barb Kirkmeyer, one of the two. You pick. And so they pick winners and losers. And so instead of actually building an organization that says, listen, we're going to take a very open approach to who's going to be running in what position, they play games. Well, I can tell you what young people don't have an appetite for. They don't have an appetite for games. They don't. If they want to play a game, they just get online and watch a couple of videos and like they just zone out. And the example that we set for young people is that you can act like assholes. You want to know why people are filled, the whole deal's filled with assholes? It's pretty simple. We act like assholes. But the reason why they don't want to get involved in politics on the Republican side is because you got the John Thunes of the world. Or you got people that stand up that want to be polished. They want to polish themselves and say, well, we just don't have the vote. We just don't have the vote. Won't shame each other and say, listen, this is really where we're at. The American people have spoken. 82% of the people have said that they want the SAVE Act. 82% across the board of all people. And these pieces of shit on the Republican side can't get their act together and do what the American people want to do. Because it was never about you. You were never supposed to get what you want. Did you want the Affordable Care Act? No. Over 70% of people said they didn't want it. They passed it anyway. You want increases in taxes? No. They use fraudulent systems in Colorado and across the country to pass tax initiatives that give them access to more money. They're the only ones that do not have to be accountable. You get arrested. Go drink, run into a bunch of cars. Just do property damage. Don't hurt anyone. Do property damage. If you're a Colorado Supreme Court justice, they're going to be like this. Sweep, sweep, sweep under the rug. And when you have when Melissa Hart had in this case, Christopher Gregory case, Melissa Hart has a bench warrant for her arrest for not showing up to court. Cop shows up and is like, hey, so just go down and take care of it. The rule is you arrest every single person that has a warrant out for their arrest, period, end. But the rules don't apply to them. They don't apply to them at all. So the Republican Party's absolutely just trash. Democrat Party, it's more trash. They care more about pedophiles and prostitutes and legalizing and making the state a pimp in Colorado than they do doing right by the people. They don't want to protect the state from illegals. And as I said to George when I was sitting in front of George Brockward, who's the 23rd District Attorney today, I was like, you have no power. You have a Republican DA, great. You have a Republican bench, representative in an area. Do you know what your judges are? They're radical leftists because the governor appoints them in your area. So what does that happen? What happens with school boards and what happens with everything else? They just get to infect it because stolen elections are where it starts, and then they just come through your entire state and they basically rip away your ability to have any sort of sovereignty or any sort of freedom. And then the people we do have that are Republican that go there, they're told, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to do exactly what I say, or we're going to make sure you don't get reelected. And they're like, oh, I have a little bit of power and I'm kind of important. So I'm going to just justify it to my constituents that I'm doing this because rub on your head and tap on your belly. That's truly what's happening in politics. There's only one party. There's only one party. And so as I walk through all this information with the people in the room, some people got it. I got like 8 phone calls, a couple text messages. Somebody that goes to DCF quite often handed me a letter saying, I need you to read this. It's an article that was written. They get it. And then you had the people that sat back in there and did this and looked at each other like, I can't believe he's calling us out. And I was like, because you're a piece of shit. You made it impossible for anybody to have any sort of joy or to enjoy the process of sitting at one of these meetings. So all you have is a bunch of grouchy old people and people that want to actually get involved. 2 people, grouchy old people that act like this is some sort of high school prom club. And then you have the people that really want to get something done that stomach these people who walk around shitting on everyone while young people show up and be like, yeah, this is not for me. I mean, all we need is like 2 oxygen tanks and somebody to start smoking. Elon put this post up this morning. Just so we're clear, I am the real deal. I am a guy that's made sacrifices for 6 years. I'm the guy that literally has taken every punch, and I don't give a shit if you're a Republican, a Democrat. I don't care if you like me or dislike me. I'm going to do what the people ask me to do. They asked me to fight for the last 6 years for election integrity, so I have. They asked me to look at information, I do. They asked me to get involved, they asked me to help out in certain areas. I honor my brothers and sisters in my community. I am my brother's keeper. Here's what Elon said: so many phonies, so few who are the real deal. How true is that? How true is that? You know what else Elon likes to do? He likes to use the word retarded. Well, I think there's a lot of retarded people out there. And here's President Trump. If you want to look at, here's a post by Gavin Wax on Truth Social. Put it up. President Trump boosted an article by Gavin Wax on Truth Social last year. AF Post exposed text messages showing that Gavin Wax leaked his fellow Young Republicans Telegram group chat information to a left-wing political journalist. The story escalated into a national scandal while the Young Republicans mentioned were doxxed and subject to harassment. As the chief of staff to the Undersecretary of the State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs, Wax faced no repercussions from the Trump administration for his actions. Gavin Wax. I've had the chance of being on lots of stuff with Gavin Wax. Trump quietly set up a future of American manufacturing with a stroke of a pen. And President Trump reposted it. Now here's what I will say. I'm not saying that President Trump knew he was actually reposting Gavin, but here's what I will tell you about the Republican Party. The fakers. These are weak pieces of shit. And like, if you don't like the fact that I'm using retards and shit, then just don't follow me. But here's, let's just put it all out there. The fact that we let fake and gay run things should concern every single one of you. It should concern you that we have theater everywhere. Your life is no better. Your life, I would argue, is much worse than it's ever been right now, because you're on the precipice of the speed bump ending and us going into a place where we get persecuted or play ball by the radical leftist regime. And that is going to cause a lot of people to die. You want to know why? Because a lot of people are not interested in being captured by demons and people that think pedophilia is okay. We're not okay with it. And speaking of fake and gay, here's Bongino, and I want to say this about Joe Kent. Joe Kent had his clearance stripped of him before he resigned. Here's what you guys don't know. He leaked information. And they stripped him of his classification to get access to certain information. They didn't give it to him because he leaked stuff. But let's speak of Bongino putting his 2 cents in. And remember, this is the guy that said that if you saw what I saw, it was terrible, while also telling us to move along with the Epstein files. And I mean, he is the arbiter of reality. And if you're on Rumble right now, we should probably talk about Rumble at some point. I mean, Rumble, man, those guys. They're awesome. We want to talk about high school drama club. The Rumble platform, the more I get into it and the more I start studying what they're doing, it's just a glorified, prop up who you want and suppress everyone else. That's Rumble. Here's Dan Bongino. Let's play it.
The truth will always set you free. Every time. Now you're seeing the grift totally, completely exposed. Bare ass out there and everything. Joe Kent's a liar. As I said yesterday and the day before, Joe was a friend. Joe disgraced himself last night. Joe's history of service to the country, beyond reproach. Period. That does not change anything about what happened last night, however, that Joe Kent is a liar. Calling someone a liar is a big deal, and I know that.
What kind of pressure does it require to get a president who campaigned against exactly this thing for 10 years to do exactly this thing? What does it take to do that?
I wish I knew definitively. I think there's two potentials or two schools of thought. I mean, one is the media echo chamber, the donors, the way the Israelis come in and kind of launder the information like I described previously.
In 20 seconds, you have it right. This is the mark for suckers. You fall for the hidden knowledge scam and the gatekeeper theory that you voted for Donald Trump, but he's not smart enough to know what's going on. Donald Trump does not know what's going on. Quote, the Israelis have laundered intelligence. I saw the intelligence. So did he. He's lying. That is a lie. Yeah, that's right, folks. The NSA and its huge budget and the CIA and the FBI, CTD, Counterterror Division, and our Counterespionage Division, Counterintel, everyone's just sitting around jerking off all day. You believe that shit?
I don't believe his shit. He called Joe Kent a friend and then eviscerated him over his thoughts on the war in Iran. Joe Kent lost his wife in war. Show me what Dan Bongino has ever lost. Show it to me. Oh, I'm sorry, time. He talks about the fact that he's given up time with his wife. I don't know if it's wife number 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Anybody know how many wives he's had? Check that for me. They want you to ignore the reality of what's happening with Israel. You can trust whatever you want. Israel went in and did bomb the hell out of another part of Iran. And the president had to come out and said, I condemn this. We didn't need to do that. We don't spend any time, condemning the diabolical. And you can think two things can be true at the same time. You can have a country that should have their sovereignty respected on both sides. And Iran, since 1979, has sent in a bunch of people and killed a bunch of Americans and done really bad things to America. They have poked the bear. That is also true. They have talked about death to America. But the death to America, for what reason? You think they just came up with it one day, woke up and said, I just want to kill America? No. We went into Iraq. We killed millions of people that we shouldn't have killed. We said there were weapons of mass destruction. We put those weapons of mass destruction, the sarin gas and everything else, on the border of Saudi Arabia. Couldn't get it into the country. They tried. It's a true story. We created allies and we create wars, and the only people that die are Americans. You don't see any of the leaders dying. They die of old age. While people are put in positions where they get to do the bidding of these really, really bad people. And I will always support President Trump. I will. You know why I support President Trump? Because he's my commander-in-chief. And the one thing that equalizes all of this is free and fair elections. But now we're headed toward a place where we can the only thing that I can see is self-preservation at this point. That's it. Like, why are we doing what we're doing right now? Why is it that we have not arrested anyone yet in the United States? We have destroyed the American ethos. Destroyed it. Destroyed it. What's left of it? Married once. Oh, wow. There's a first. And here's a change in the immigration policy according to the Post. President Trump has ordered officials to focus on arresting bad guys while reducing high-profile operations in major cities like Minnesota and Chicago. Consequently, daily arrests have fallen from 1,500 to 1,200. The change is being overseen by Tom Homan, who wants to pivot from blanket arrests to bread and butter arrests concerning criminals. Susie Wiles, who's concerned that mass deportations carried a negative connotation with midterm voters, advised the change of policy. You know, I talk to Democrats more than I talk to Republicans. Hey, heck, 40% of our listeners are all Democrats by political affiliation. 40%. And in that 40%, they're just as fed up and sick of it all as we are. And it's another thing that I said this morning. I was like, Democrat, Republican, Independent, what difference does it make? None of the people that represent us are representing us. They're representing special interests and allowing this grift to continue. But you know, Bongino couldn't miss an opportunity to say that it was a grift. That's why Joe Kent was doing this, because of a grift. And again, I will go back and I will say, has any whistleblower on any side been treated with respect and dignity at all? Any? Just give me one. And I want to remind you that as a Christian, if you are just so blind and out there saying, I have to support it, it says in the Bible, support Israel. That's not Israel. That's a state that was created in the 1940s by the Rothschilds. And I'm not supporting the synagogue of Satan Jews. I'm going to support my brothers and sisters regardless of who they are and regardless of where they live, based on just the idea of identity to humanity, period. And here's Netanyahu. I want you to pay attention. I played this yesterday. Pay attention to what he says. Play it.
Also wrote The Lessons of History, very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now. The fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period and the historic struggle that we are engaged in now, doesn't obviate these truths.
Evil can conquer good. Everywhere we turn, normalized people in the market are turned into EBITs and slaves. In Colorado, they have made farmers sharecroppers on their own property, saying that you have to now approve and get certified GMO seeds from us before you put them in the ground, or you're subject to penalties that includes arrest and confinement. Imagine that. Imagine being told that you're a farmer, you own your land, but if you have to put their seed in it. Not only do they own the water that falls from the sky, they can tell you how much water to use, but now they can tell you what you can plant in order to make a livelihood on your own property. Tell me where that shows up anywhere in the Founding Fathers' documents of free expression and freedom. How free are you? How free are you? What you're seeing happen right now in our society is the tightening on the neck of the American ideals. Good people. It's this evil conquering good. And when Elon Musk says that we got a bunch of shitty people and very few are real, I'd rather be real and know I'm going to meet my maker being real than live in this world where I'm a coward, like most people. I'm not talking about you. And let me tell you what the effects are that you have of phonies and stolen elections that have allowed for this overcoming, this replacement theology that's happened in the United States. Traitors caused this. How about this? This is Islam taking over Texas. And this is, this should disgust you. on top of, and by the way, if you're in Texas and you don't fight this and you don't like want to rip the building down, something's wrong with you. Go ahead, pay it. Play C1.
Texas has now admitted 4 Islamic schools to their voucher program. This comes after an Obama-appointed judge ruled that they had to extend their deadline to allow more private schools, mainly Islamic schools, to apply. And this comes after CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, which has been designated or labeled as a terror organization by Governor Abbott in the state of Texas. This comes after they filed a lawsuit demanding taxpayer funds for these Islamic schools, which are all tied back to CARE, which is designated as a terrorist organization in the state of Texas, which is why they weren't eligible in the first place. And one of the schools that's been admitted is the Houston Quran Academy, which is headed by Hamid Ghazali, a man who was literally name-checked in the 1991 Muslim Brotherhood memo on how to destroy our civilization from within. Now, this man previously ran Ghazali Islamic Video, which he founded out of Lawrence, Kansas, and he was busy soliciting donations for every one of the bad guys, every single group that you've ever heard of overseas that we are not supposed to be giving aid and comfort or money out of the United States to. He was busy doing that, up to and including Al-Q. And this was all on video. You can find these videos, some of the sources that I include right here. So there you go, a man who was literally name-checked in the 1991 Muslim Brotherhood Memorandum on how to infiltrate and destroy our civilization from within, just had another Muslim Brotherhood front group sue the state of Texas so that he could get taxpayer money to run one of his indoctrination centers. They sued to make us pay them. They sued to make us their demis. We now have to pay them to run their indoctrination centers. Y'all, this is not how this is supposed to go. We need a federal designation of the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. We need the federal designation, and we need to get very serious about countering these threats right here in the homeland, because I'm going to tell you, that's what I voted for.
$10,000. I actually don't care that it's a Muslim school. The fact that we have to pay for it. So you have to pay for Arabs that come here from other countries to have 6 houses and 6 different wives and have children with all them, and you have to pay for the voucher program. This is a big problem in Colorado. This is a huge problem. This is like hundreds of millions of dollars a year problem. And you have to pay for the multiple wives, and you have to pay for the, and they show up as, you think I'm kidding? Go check I already sent a thing over to a couple of representatives in the Colorado House. And I was like, go check it out. I was able to find it in 3.5 hours, 4 hours. You guys can't find it? And again, I don't care about the fact that you're Muslim or Christian or Jewish or Buddhist. I don't care any of that. You shouldn't be able to take $10,000 from me when I can't even fund my schools. Can't fund them. There's no soccer program. There's no sports program. Matter of fact, in Colorado now, and it's probably around the country, you have to pay all the fees associated with playing the sport inside of the school. Little by little, they erode and chip away and make you pay more and more and more and more and more and more because you're a slave, and they want to treat you like a slave. And now we got to have them come in and say, I'm coming in to take you over, and we have to watch it happen. How many of you want to do that? And I'm sorry I cuss, they're going to bleep out the curse words. And here's what's happening in New York. Play this.
I don't want to put anyone on the hot seat, so you can tell me what you can't discuss. I know that you probably have some suspicions as well. It seems like the mayor supports this. Does it seem like this is coming from the mayor, or there's some influence there?
I can't read into that, but I got to tell you, I was so shocked when I saw that press conference.
Do you think it's time for the council to expel Vicky Palladino, or are you going to call on them to do that? And then I have a second question.
I'm heartened by the actions that the council has taken. I will leave the council to answer further questions on the specificity. I know they're currently undertaking a process.
Because he had just had another press event where he was talking about how he'll defend anyone's right to speak, and this was in relation to Mahmoud Khalid. It was in response to the protests that happened outside Gracie Mansion where bombs got thrown. He's defending speech, but if it's a city council person and he doesn't like their speech, then he's heartened by the city council, doing something that they've never done in their history, not once. Right? I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face about the number of tweets that went out on other council people's websites from the so-called Progressive Caucus, and how offensive they were to lots of people, including staffers within the city council. Not one punishment, but when Vicky speaks her truth, they don't like the speech, and that's what this is all about, right? The answer to speech that you don't like is more speech. It's not starting some bogus disciplinary process to expel her, censure her, whatever they have planned.
For the first time ever, they want to charge someone with ethic violations for protected speech. And here's the New York Post reporting, showing her post. Go ahead and put it up. New York City politicians suing council for trying to censor her over Islamophobic tweets. And let's look at the tweet real quick. Can we blow it up a little bit? She says, "We're in the middle of a global jihad, the likes of which the world has never seen, and we cannot ignore it. We need to take very seriously the need to begin the expulsion of Muslims from Western nations, or at the least, the severe sanctions of them from within borders. The administration needs to begin developing a formal legal framework for the denaturalization process and to get it over with before we and others end up with another 9/11 or worse. Enough is enough." And this is in response to Australian hero took gun off shooter, terrorist attack, Sydney, at least 10 dead. More often than not, people misunderstand. Well, you have more atheistic Muslims out there than you do anything else right now. I mean, they're running away from their religion in droves. But I will tell you that there's not a big appetite for, man, can I say this and not get in trouble for it? Most Muslims are just go along to get along. Most. But you have the people that know how to take advantage of and steal from you and take advantage of Americans and treat you like slaves and dogs. And keep in mind, both Muslims and Jews think that non-believers or non-Jews are dogs, and Muslim believes that non-infidels are dogs. Christians are the only one that don't see people as dogs if they don't adhere to or believe in Christ. The only one. And we're the only ones that become a beating stick across the country and across the world. So let's put up this post, by the way. Just going through stuff that's happening around the country. Here's in Michigan. Michigan reported 8.2 million registered voters in 2024. Michigan voting age citizen population was 7.6 million in 2024. Senator Slotkin opposes the Save America Act. You know why? Because you're a slave. Slave. And I think we should probably get to some positive stuff going into the weekend. Because there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens. You guys are going to love it. If you're in Colorado and you are going to any of the assemblies, some of you are in for a treat. Because I'm going to make the assemblies fun again. I absolutely am going to do that. But this is the 14th Circuit Court of Appeals just rammed. They just rammed it up Judge Tanya Chutkan's corrupt ass. They just ruled the entire Trump family can sue the evil witch for massive punitive damages and make her pay with her own blood money. She let a total bullshit, frivolous lawsuit run wild, then signed the warrant for that illegal raid on the ex-president's home like she was some kind of deep state queen. This disgusting hack tried to hide behind her black robe screaming qualified immunity. But the 5-judge panel looked at her dead in the eyes and said, "Go F yourself." Trump's personal attorney has already sharpened their knives and will file the lawsuit early next week. She's about to be broke, exposed, and humiliated in front of the whole world. This is the sweetest revenge you'll ever see. Share this now if you want to watch the crooked, you know what, cry and the pathetic traitor she is. I don't know who wrote this. Who wrote this? This is kind of great. Share this now if you want to. Yeah. Who else is ready for popping champagne? Now, let me just say this, if I can. is President Trump the only one that should feel the victory of success? Let me say it differently. President Trump, I'm glad that you feel like you're vindicated. I'm glad that that takes care of your family and makes you more whole. What about my family? What about all the people that stood up and gave countless hours, some lost their lives, stood up over the last 6 years? What about those? What about the arrests that were promised that would come and we would vindicate those people that have been fighting for truth, not your truth, my truth, been fighting for truth? What about those people? And I truly believe that you want it to come and it's going to happen, or it could happen, but it's not happening. And again, the people that have been your biggest ally, that have worked really hard to support you 100%, are kind of sitting on the edge of their seat trying to figure out why they're being left behind. And I'm not going to get on a bandstand and tell you that I agree with what's happening in Iran, because I'm not. And I don't. But I'll still support you, and I'll still go in that direction until which point I can't understand it anymore. Right now, it's really close to, we have all this information, we have all these people in positions of trust, and we keep seeing them doing the same thing over and over again, installing, while people like me continue to spend more and more money fighting what can only be described as evil, corrupt people. Who knows? But I'm really glad that President Trump's family got vindication. I'm really glad that that judge is going to face it. But there should be a lot of judges facing it. Now, let's talk about some funny stuff to go into the weekend. We're going to cut this one shorter than short today. Would you, let's play this cut. First one.
Would you guys rather go to jail for the rest of your life or be conservative?
Go to jail.
Go to jail?
Yeah.
Die.
Die. I just can't. I look at him and I was like, wow. I don't even know if the radical left even understands the concept of what's happening to them and the parents that walk out there. There was a post put out there about a woman that was on the show, and she was like, I would never date a liberal. And they go, why? He goes, because he's going to turn my kid gay. And I started laughing, and I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. But that's somebody that is more afraid of not their child turning out gay, but more afraid of this radicalism that you see with these really ugly people who, by the way, are doing themselves a favor. They're not reproducing, which is good, but they've also been groomed into a position where they're going to be unhappy for the rest of their life. Half of them are going to commit suicide. It's just, yeah. And here's what it's like to be under 18 in blue states today.
I'd like a tattoo of this really awesome Chinese symbol that I saw.
We're definitely gonna need your parents to come sign off on it.
It's my body, my choice.
You're 14. Take it from me. You're gonna regret it one day.
All right, then can I just buy some of those cigarettes?
No way. Smoking is so bad for you.
How about a beer?
No.
A vape pen?
No.
A lighter?
Not in this state.
Can I rent a car?
Sorry.
Bottle of cough syrup?
What are you, drunk?
Fireworks?
You might blow yourself up.
That Ruger GP100 and a box of 38 specials?
You might shoot your eye out.
Can I just, I don't know, like get an irreversible gender surgery?
No problem. We'll get started right away.
Oh, cool. I don't need my parents' permission.
Of course not. What if they're non-affirming?
Okay. Well, it's going to be a great weekend. I don't want to tease what's happening this weekend, but I will tell you, it's really difficult to get to all the assemblies, so I might have done something. So we're going to have a little fun with the assemblies this weekend. And should we tease it a little bit? No, we're not going to tease it. But we're going to go live. I'm going to go live. I'm literally going to go live as I'm doing this thing that I'm doing starting tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning. And we are going to go to our first assembly. It should be really, really fun. So let's pray it out, shall we? Father God, thank you for just the blessings you put in our lives. We talked a lot about people that have betrayed the very people in this country, and the fact that we've gone so far in a direction where the country is just almost unrecognizable. And more importantly, as we look at that, we notice that you are just been stripped from every part of life, and that there is no, barometer for normal or for ethical. So Father, I just ask you to help us to be able to deal with this in such a way that we can stay in the fight, stay focused on restoring you to our community and our country. It becomes more and more difficult to support our leaders because we're confused by their actions. But Father, I just ask you to give us the ability to have discernment and be able to stand in solidarity together. And yet, even that seems just a little off. Father, give us I don't know what to give us right now. Give us what you'll give us. At this point, I just feel like we should be led in a direction and be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we know it's there, but some of the decisions made are just a little bit confusing. So help us, Father, to see those that are trying to push us towards good and identify those that aren't. And again, we're grateful for being born at a time like this and being able to create success for our communities and our country. I say these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, all that stuff. Go over there, give us a 5-star review, do all the stuff that you do. Have a great weekend. I hope to see you at the assembly if you're in Colorado, and I hope to see you in Wisconsin on Monday. Take care. God bless you.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Kuma's lies, Dominion's deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt hall, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Martin, Tina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people. Set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong. Opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam. Reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Kuma's fraud, Dominion's rigged design, expose the stolen votes, cross the dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people. Governor, lead us bold and true. Governor, freedom forever, Colorado. Rise up untamed, in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea.